Hello, welcome.
Welcome to my channel.
Is the teacher justified in being angry with the student? They gave two answers, but said it's not enough. I wonder why? A beautifully elegant, very sweet question asked in the Olympics. It asks us for the sum of all x values. What kind of roots would provide this?
I can almost hear you thinking of some numbers right away, just like the student. But do only these numbers satisfy the equation?
I think I heard it. Is it 1 or 0? But these are not enough. Let's get started.
First, I move x squared next to x to the power of 5. What happens? X to the power of 5 minus x squared equals 0. Now we can factor this algebraic expression by taking out the common factor. Like what? Let's factor out x squared. In this case, what will remain inside? X cubed minus 1 equals 0 will remain. Later, if you pay attention, x squared needs to be 0. Or what does this expression need to be? It needs to be 0. So I say let x squared equal 0. Then x is 1, 2. What comes from this? 0 comes. So what are the two roots that satisfy the equation? These are them. Let's paint them right away. Let's not forget. Now, as we continue, what do we have left? X cubed minus 1 equals 0. What comes to mind immediately?
We can write it this way. The cube of x cubed minus 1 is equal to 0.
Let's immediately show the part about this cube expansion here on the side. We know what a cubed minus b cubed is. Inside parentheses, a minus b. Then it becomes a squared plus ab plus b squared. Now what will I do? I will apply this here.
Now, what will our expression turn into? X minus 1 times x squared plus x plus 1 equals 0. Now, what does it mean for the result to be 0? It means either this expression is 0 or what does this expression need to be? Again, it needs to be 0. When we immediately set x minus 1 equal to 0, x will be equal to 1.
Of course, what were the answers the student gave then? If we think about it, the reason the teacher got so angry, they said this, they said that. Of course, let's not forget this friend's number here. This became the third root. If we continue, what do we have? X squared plus x plus 1 equals 0. I guess the student didn't know this. What should immediately come to mind? The properties related to these. That is in the equation, ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. What were we doing here? We were finding the discriminant, or in other words, delta. What was it? B squared minus 4ac. What were we finding afterward? We were finding the roots. What were the roots of this? If I say x1, 2. Minus b plus or minus the square root of delta or discriminant divided by 2a was our starting point. Now, when we look at our expression, what did it tell us a is? 1. Where is a? Here. How much did it say b is? Here. We found that this is also 1. How much did it say c is? It said it is 1. It expressed these. Of course, the teacher got very angry because the student didn't know these.
Of course, what do we need to do with all of these? We need to know them.
If we continue, the discriminant equals, what happened? B squared minus 4ac from delta equals, what was our b?
1. 1 squared minus 4 times 1 times 1.
Delta equals, what do we get from here? 1 minus 4 equals, what will we say? Negative 3. We saw that it is less than 0. What will this tell us now? It will say that they are non-real roots. So our task has become a bit longer. Now, if I continue from here, of course, what was the question asking us? If we pay attention, it initially asked what the sum of the roots was. We need to act accordingly. Now, as we continue, yes, if we want to find the roots, what will we say? Of course, which roots are these? We need to look at that too. We found 3. These are the 4th and 5th roots.
Let's say 4, 5. What was our formula? Negative b plus or minus the square root of delta divided by 2a.
Inside the root, I say 4.5. I see what was my b. 1 minus 1 plus or minus inside the root. What did we find delta to be? Minus 3 divided by 2 times 1, I say. Then I continued. X 4.5. So the fourth and fifth roots are negative 1 plus minus. What will it be now? How will this come out of the root? When we look, yes, it will come out as 3i. What do we know? What was negative 1 inside the root equal to? It was equal to I. This is one of our most important properties. What are we not doing with this? We do not forget. When we continue, what will we write in the denominator of this 2? So what has happened to the thing I called x 4.5? So it became negative 1.2 plus or minus 3 over 2i. Now, what was asked from us? The sum of the roots was requested. If we look at our first and second roots, they were 0. What did we do right away? We wrote 0 here, so it became like this. x1 plus x2 plus x3 plus x4 plus x5. The man asked us for this. Yes. If we pay attention, now the teacher got very angry because he couldn't solve this question. We continue. What was the value we called x1? 0. What was the value we called x2? 0.
What was the value we called x3?
The value we called x3 was 1. I wrote down 1, then I continued. What will my other root be? The thing I called x4, negative 1 over 2 plus 3 over 2i. What will my other root be? When we come right next to it, plus negative 1 over 2 minus 3 over 2i. Of course, if we get rid of this parenthesis, we see that this becomes 1. What will 1 plus be? Here, 3 over 2i minus 3 over 2i. Then what happens? Minus 1 over 2, minus 1 over 2. If you pay attention, what happened to these friends? Yes. What is our remaining expression? 1 minus 2 over 2. So 1 minus 1 equals, what happened? 0. So after all this effort, what turned out to be the answer to the question?
It turned out to be 0. If the student had said this, they would have applauded the answer. But since he couldn't say it, he lost.
Please, don't forget to follow me and like my videos. I love you all very much. You are all our friends. Please, don't forget to follow and like the videos. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.